It's up to your
And you know, as whenever we start a meeting, whenever we have a meeting, we always have the invocation of the Almighty. And we have a very prominent figure to bring that invocation to us this evening. I'll ask the warriors to say a word of prayer first.
Pleasant afternoon to his. Pleasant afternoon to His Worship, the Mayor, to the head table, the Municipal Police, and the President of the South Chamber, and to all members. Let me say at this time, all protocol being observed. Can we stand please as we bring a short invocation? Thank you. And even though I would bring the Creator in your own way, let's bow please hands. Creator and Father, we come before you this afternoon, and we place you to the head of this meeting. And whatever would be said here is to develop the city and the country by extension. We place you, and you will be in charge. Guide our thoughts, guide our mind, but in truth and frank, you are the true Creator, and you will take us to that place where there will be betterment and harmony for one and all. In Jesus' name as we pray, amen.
Thank you, Damaris. Good afternoon to the first citizen of the city of San Fernando, His Worship the Mayor, Alderman Jimmy Regrado, and of course the second citizen, just celebrated International Women's Day. We're so proud to have a female deputy leader in the name of Dr. Ferry Hussein. And although she looks very diminutive in her stature, she's loud in her deliberations, which we'll hear later on. As a calming force, of course, we must acknowledge ASP Fraser and Acting Inspector Maharaj, also known by the very famous name Zina, not to be mistaken with the warrior princess, but named after her nevertheless. She will give you that funny story as we go along the city meeting as to how that name came about. But as we get down to serious business, we don't like to waste time. The idea for this meeting came about as a result of several discussions with His Worship that the concerns raised from the business community is the downturn in the economy, which has also affected business activity, commerce. Of course, we are on High Street, but it transcends the entire downtown area of the city, Mogapo Street, Pointe-a-Pierre Road, Sukaru Street, and all the other surrounding streets, St. James Street, and the city stretches to Marabella in the north, stretches to Kuki in the east, and it stretches to Duncan Village in the south. The Gulf of Paria is our boundaries. We go further than that. But the road is widening there for us to enter and exit the city on a much more easier basis than what transpired before. So what we would want to hear from business owners, from executives in the different fields of commerce that we are involved in is what are your challenges, what are your experiences, but the main idea is how to improve the city of San Fernando and surrounding areas. We all know business has been dramatically reduced with the pandemic, with the global slowdown in the economy, and we have these challenges to face. The mayor has some ideas. I've been speaking to some of you all privately who also have some excellent ideas which I want you all to share with us this evening as we move the meeting along. This is an open discussion. This is the time where we talk, so action could follow the talk. Because we all like to talk, the round shop talk, and the old talk in the parlor. And when we're ready for action, we see the very little results. So I would like to, as we know when we start any meeting, we introduce ourselves very briefly so everybody knows who is everybody. So we take in less than a minute, 30 seconds if possible. Name, location, business. That's it. So everybody knows who's everybody, and then we'll get into discussion. I will ask his worship to say a few words after you introduce yourselves to us here. We'll start with Neil.
Good afternoon, everybody. Neil Mohammed, Fen Mohammed. Mention the location. If you all know.
Hello, good evening. I'm Sando West, I'm the principal of Automation Technology College, best school for technical education, plumbing, electrical engineering, etc.
Good evening, Sia Batch, branch manager at Maritime Financial Group on Cipero Street in San Fernando.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Santina Guerrero from the city of Hollis,
Rakesh Rupal, RS Global Trader, High Street. Wholesalers, right across the street.
Good evening, everyone. Reshma, Sam and Reshma, Wholesale and Retail, 78 High Street, San Fernando.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sean Alphonsing, Accounts Bakery, 63 Kitchen, San Fernando.
Good afternoon, Shino Carrier, Savali Electrical Store, Sparrow Road in San Fernando.
Afternoon, everyone. Rabindra Prasad from DP Maraj / Bobby Prasad Limited at 90 High Street, San Fernando, just over the road there.
Hi everyone, John Horacio de Real Estate Sales. I'm on the Gulf of Paris, here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Naka Rasta, Fortress, San Fernando.
Dear Miranda's, Chartered Accountant, 19 Gardenia Drive, Union Hall, San Fernando.
Good evening, Adam Hussein, Adam's Optical, San Fernando, Rio Claro, Chihuahuas.
Afternoon, Salim Mohammed from representing Kansam Traders, Mokarma Street, San Fernando.
Good evening, Jenny Mohammed, Kansam Traders, Mokarma Street, San Fernando.
Rodney Abdul, Shara Limited, 49C High Street, San Fernando.
Good afternoon, Raju Kaparu, Magical Island Tours and Travel.
Indira Katwaru, Magical Island Tours and Travel.
Devendra Maraj, Imperial Real Estate, Kings Wharf Parking Facility, the corner of King and Queen Street, Lower High Street.
Good afternoon, Demorius Horsley, Communication Specialist for Rogers Drugstore, New Wave Apparel and Plaza San Fernando, and my office is also situated here, and speak for 10 other businesses. Thank you.
Triana Express Institutional Photographer.
Good afternoon, Kuldeep Prasad, Audio System Rentals. You can always contact me right here at Aaron Plaza.
Good afternoon, Dr. Mohammed, Fish Picking Fishes,
And Samaru, Tony and Hans Bransolo.
To the mayor, who will express his thoughts, and then we'll start with some interactions with you.
Thank you, Kiran. Good evening to everyone. We will more or less the head killer of the described earlier, so you're all familiar who we are and why we're here. More importantly, there's an old adage that says, when you leave a house on fire, wet yours. And we have been looking at what's happening in Portersfield and elsewhere in terms of the inner city and how business is evolving and impacting on those who decide to operate in the inner city. Having said that, we look at San Fernando, beginning with the main artery, which is High Street. And what can we do to improve business in San Fernando? We don't want to wait until 2 years, 3 years down the road when you come to us or we come to you or we have to get together and say that we have a problem in San Fernando where people are gravitating out of the city, annual business collapsing, people have to deal with issues, mounting issues. So we have a responsibility to help, and we have to take a collective approach in how we deal with some of the issues. What are the benefits for having a business in the city? Especially like the case of DP Maraj, and they've been operating here probably second generation for quite a while, and others. How you treat with it? What is the benefit of the malls? How are the malls impacting on your operation? What is the attractiveness that make people gravitate to the inner city? And the inner city is High Street, Coffee Street, Mokarapu Street, the case may be. What it is about High Street makes High Street this magical place? There must be something why this is so. San Fernando High Street, there was a fire in 1818 that destroyed High Street. Within 4 years, High Street was back again. Even though it's just San Fernando well from 1846 to now, how it has evolved, there's always something about this inner city. So we have a responsibility to maintain it and to support it, to make it happen. So we are here today to discuss ideas and share your thoughts and expressions in terms of what we can do. One of the benefits I can tell you for a fact is that around the inner city, we have the most unique setup in the world. When you start from the library corner to the hospital, all the major institutions in San Fernando happen to be right around the inner city. We have 3 churches. There's activity in the churches all the time. We have 3 schools. We have the hospital. We have the NIB office, magistrate court, Supreme Court, police station, the teaching hospital, several loyal offices, as the case may be. All those institutions generate activity, people going and coming. So what people do, I have to go to the lawyer office and ask I shouldn't collect something at the same time. Or you also have several taxi stands on the length and breadth of High Street. So I'm going to get a taxi to go to Shibona's, I'll pick up something in the stores and go along. That is a plus that you have going for you. How do you capitalize on that? What do you do? So you have a catchment audience targeted coming in your space constantly all the time. You can't get better than that. The onus is on you to pull people into your business place, as the case may be. What are you doing? Are we going to collectively say that the first week in April we're going to have a grand sale? That is pretty much the idea here. Everybody is going to commit themselves to have a grand sale on the last week of the ending of April. And just drop your prices by 10%, wherever it is. Now, I'm not going to take it up 10% elsewhere, you know, on some items. But if you were to promote your places with a grand sale, when I was growing up, I always had a keen interest in business from the outside looking in. I'm not a business person by the way. I didn't like to play with money. However, anybody here familiar with Ram Kirpalani? Ram Kirpalani was one of the most amazing business people that passed through San Fernando, right? He had a sale once, I think it was a dollar sale. So he printed dollars and it was before you had mirror newspaper, before you had the Express newspaper. So he printed $signs and $2 signs and $5 signs. And you will cut it out of the paper and match it at the store. So you go to the store with these notes, and if a iron board costs $20, you bring 10 of that, and 10 of it, whatever, 10 of it, and you can purchase it. Now it was a scheme, but he cut it down, but it created a buzz at the time. People were excited about it. You couldn't get in the Kirpalani store that weekend. You were rushing. So you are required now in this amazing time that we live in this very competitive world that we live in, to look for ideas that's different, to draw people to your store. Because they're already there, they're on the pavement, they're on the outside, they're walking to work and from work. You know how many nurses I see during the day on High Street? How many people, police officers during the day with the High Street get something, pick up an item or two? How many times you're going to a store to get, let us say, some toiletries, and you end up with 6 or 7 additional items that you didn't plan to buy. All this is part of the program. So we're talking here in this conversation today is to look for ideas, right, and to discuss the way going forward, how we can work together with the corporation, with support of the municipal police, to give you the safety that you expect and anticipate, and to find a way to make San Fernando more exciting and create more business. So having said that, I will pause and let us start the narrative and going forward. Thank you, Ron.
Right, so now is the time to talk. Who went first?
I would like to start.
Mr. Mayor, and especially to the municipal police. As communication specialist for one of the businesses that I mentioned, Rogers Drugstore, approximately 2 weeks ago, there was a break-in there in the night. And apparently, like it's a frequent thing, occurs in the night. I don't know how the municipal police function in the night in the city, but I know it's cause for concern. And if you all could have more patrol during the course of the night, because we understand in the dead of the night, that is when the elements will move about. I'll rest for the while. Thank you.
Thanks, the warriors.
I have several, but I'll let people take their chances. Street dwellers. There's an increase in street dwelling, and the younger kids, you see them in the night, especially what the Mr. General was saying. When you patrol on the promenade, you will see a set of them up on that side. They frequent business places, they stand up in front of business place and they would pay customers, something like that. So one of my questions is what the municipal police and the mayor in turn doing with street dwelling, right? That's a main concern in our part. We talk about police patrolling on walks. When I was younger, which is, I guess, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, you saw a lot of police patrolling walking the streets. You used to feel a lot safer doing things, playing football and cricket on the streets. We don't have that again, right? It's, we see them more lazy in the vehicles. They're not walking around again like they used to. Meet the community, meet the people, meet the owners of the business, have a relationship with them. That is not there, right? You have to build that relationship with the store owners. Next thing, reckon. Reckon in San Fernando. The mayor talk about dropping the price of 10% to encourage customers. We can't encourage customers if we reckon the customers. I myself have an incident in front of my business place that was established in 1960 with my mom. And I was delivering goods and I got a ticket. I challenged the ticket to my court date is in 2025, next 3 years from now, so I might forget about that. Right? So I have 3 various points plus $1,000 to pay. Now several pensioners who just come to buy 2 cars and have to pay $1,000 ticket too as well. Now there are some police who come and buy goods and they leave it at their discretion, but it's sad to see that if we want San Fernando to be how it was again in the past, we can't be, it takes 2 hands to clap. There's no way to clap with 1 hand, there's no noise on that. So we need that togetherness from the mayor, from the police, in regards to business in that part. I will leave some for the rest of you all, but in my to the mayor is, you make some suggestions about what business people could do, but I would like to hear from you yourself what you have planned for San Fernando to make San Fernando back alive again, because we wouldn't need it from business places, we need a collaborative effort from everybody and from the office as well.
Introduce the late arrival of our pastoral ceremonies for this evening, and he will explain why he was late. The ever-famous Hansel Ajuda, who needs no introduction, of course, and I will hand over the proceedings to him, and let's have some positive contributions on what we could do for San Fernando.
Thank you, and my apologies for being late, Your Worship. Good evening to members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service here. Members of the Chamber, thank you very much, Kieran, for letting them know how late I was. I'm actually finishing a film that's due for international release, but we're actually giving San Fernando an opportunity to see it on a very limited basis. It's one of the first films actually shot entirely in the South Trinidad, and you'll be hearing more about that during the course of the media. So I think that's my excuse, whether you accept that as legitimate or you're comforted by it. There's very little I can do otherwise except try to make this session here as engaging as possible. Do we have another question, or would His Worship like to answer the question? Yes, you can pass it, Kuldeep.
The economy in any society is mainly driven by physical infrastructure. And physical infrastructure speaks to the buildings, the protection, the management, the operation of the structure. So we have several committees in the corporation, and if we talk about driving the economy, I'll begin with the physical infrastructure. Of course, we have public health, we have security, planning, and those type of things. But in terms of physical infrastructure, let's begin with the aesthetics of the building. Because you are competing with malls, and what the malls do, they make themselves attractive. There are buildings in High Street where you have water dripping from air conditioning unit on the pavement. You have buildings in High Street where you have grass growing on the roof of the building. You have buildings in High Street where it is tarnished and paint and dingy or moss. So all those things contribute to your lack of attractiveness or people wanting to gravitate to your business. What we can do, we can pass laws, we can work with our police to ensure that people are safe and there's security. We can ensure that there's a steady flow of traffic, as we do on our committees. And all those simple things that may appear to be simple to assist with the flow of people in and out. Our traffic have improved considerably within the past 5 to 7 years. We actually move taxi stand around to bring people from one end to the other end to ensure that there is a flow of pedestrians and people in your area. We govern those things. That's what we can do, that's what we have been doing. In the years gone by, you had the Marabella taxi stand at one time was on Mokrako Street. What we did, you had all the taxis on the live recorder, all of them. We moved the police bay taxi stand down to the wharf. We moved the curb stand down to Lower High Street. We moved the Shibboleth stand down to a little lower down and spread it out to ensure that there is the flow, is that movement of people. So as they move from point A to point B, you'll observe and you'll have access to the various stores. Our hands are tied in many ways. We are limited. We are looking at local government reform, which would give us the autonomy to do things and to have access to funding that we could invest as we do in Tobago. That will change the landscape considerably in San Fernando. And the government reform will be passed by Parliament. We anticipate it will kick in sometime in a couple of months or so. We will now have the power to negotiate with you, make investments, and a lot of things that we cannot do now, we will be able to do. But I give you the assurance that we are committed to this, and we are doing the best that we can do with our limited resources. If that answers you, sir.
I would like to ask you if there's anything that you can do to make the finding of taxi stands easier. People come to San Fernando and they don't have a clue as to whether they get a Pinal taxi or Princess taxi. Would it be possible, for example, to have a signpost someplace or several telling people where they can go to find the taxi stands?
So there are signs up for the designated stand, but what I what we, the idea you have there, which I'm thinking we're on the same page, is to have a major signpost right around live recorder directing people. That's something that came up some time ago, and we are working on it. We had our first traffic management meeting this morning, and those things are controlled by the Ministry of Works, so that is on the drawing board.
The head table. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, Hollis Day, I had an unfortunate situation where I was actually robbed at one point because in the car park that I have at Lower High Street, the corner of King and Queen Street, King's Wharf. 2 young fellas came, with masks and everything, and they held me up at one point. No, they didn't beat me up or anything because I, did exactly what they said, right? They enter the lotto boat, they empty the drawer, they take all the cash. I mean, about almost $10,000. That was a Friday evening, right? And I made a report to the police about CID area up there. And the problem that they said they were having is that during the COVID time, when they have, let's say, bandits robbing people, you can't identify anybody. Because they asked me, could you identify them and I ID parade? I said, well, no, because they have on the mask with the hoodie, right? So I said, no, I couldn't identify them. So I just made a report because they stole my phone, and that was it. But what I'm saying is that the time that we actually close evening is like 6:30, right? Now, previously, there used to be like a police van used to come and park around that same time, put on the lights. But just about 20 minutes, right? And allow us to close, and then, we go safe. But then that was gone, and I think this situation happened at that time. So it's unfortunate, but I would really like to see some police presence in that area because there are 3 lotto outlets in that area, right? By Steve Bar, my family, and also myself right in the car park. So between where the taxi stand is there, if the vehicle can park there just for 15 minutes, probably a day, I will really appreciate the security at it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mr. Mayor, I think the question was what can we suggest to bring more business to San Fernando, am I correct? The original question. I'm not taking away from everybody's contribution because we all have the same sentiments. So I am suggesting, because on a Sunday, after we go to church, we go home, what do we do? Nothing. But at the same time, we work Monday to Saturday, most of us, and Sunday is the only shopping day we have. There's nowhere open on Sundays on High Street. Our best bet is to go to the mall. So I'm suggesting we do like what all the people in San Fernando who get sales do. We become street vendors. And we could name it a Poi Festival to keep it local. And have it a Poi month or just a day. And open our business on San Fernando and have a sale on that day to attract people when they are not in work, they are not hustling as much. And draw the people to San Fernando. Thank you.
So let me buy into that idea. So you're suggesting that we make it one Sunday per month or every Sunday?
We can do it on a Sunday, Monday.
Okay, so Sunday, Monday that we have open all stores
Who are willing to open?
who are willing to open. There's another issue inside the vendors as well.
Well,
I'm asking.
I'm saying legal.
Okay. Okay. I'll probably go. One of the things that we considered way back in 2003 when I was here as an alderman the first time was to make it a no traffic zone, High Street that is. So no traffic on High Street, and create a sort of a festival type. We maybe get maybe some entertainment in the afternoon area, and create something more like as they have this those things that they do in foreign countries, not free market, but they are Sunday market type of thing. And that's an idea we council can consider. The deputy mayor is taking some notes here. And capitalize it. One we touch the issues that we have to discuss, and I know it's a sore point in many areas, is bending. And the vendors will tell you that they are necessary. They'll tell you that they create some sort of activity. They say so. I don't have any data, to ascertain that that is so or not, but that's their claim. And I always say the stores are strong enough to pull people, because if you're going to block the streets, you have access to the streets. You could put tents in the streets, you could extend yourself somewhat in the streets. We could have, eateries as well. There's many things we can do on that day. So this is something I would probably ask Mr. Kiran Singh, this committee, to look at and make a recommendation to council for consideration.
Businesses who are not on High Street to be able to take a booth, and even those on High Street.
Right, so this is interesting. Part of the discussion here. A couple of years ago we tried it for Christmas, but this is worthy of consideration, and maybe people can, go into your crucible this evening and think it out and communicate with Kiran in terms of how we could do it. So we could tend High Street, the whole of High Street, for the High Street people have your stores. But the people on Marabella, Coffee Street, you for instance could bring your eateries and encourage families to come. It doesn't have to be all day, it could be from 11 o'clock. So we go into the type of brunch thing, because I can tell you, I live in a home where we order food on a Sunday. My wife is here, I know she's watching me there, but we buy food on a Sunday. Right? So we don't cook anymore, the culture has changed somewhat. So there's things that we can do. So there's an opportunity for you right there. Maybe caterers can come in and supply food. So this is something, Kiran, I'd like the committee to sit and look at. We could look at, we could try for the maybe school board vacation shortly. All of that. So we can maybe look at one Sunday as a trial and see how it goes, and maybe we could plan it. Okay, Kiran?
Let me acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Rivello. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll continue. Your Worship, there's just one little thing I want to add. Recently on a big screen viewing, there's a shot in a police film that I did where City Hall is in the background. Now this was taking place in Nabrima Mall. We were doing a private screening, there were technical people there, and they were looking at this building in the background from Kiran's grandfather's home at San Fernando Street, Shackleton Street. And in the background, we see City Hall. And all the people who were viewing it at the time was from San Fernando. And do you know, they asked me what building that was? So it speaks to city pride, which is also critical, but of course that's a philosophical argument that no doubt is going to have to take place.
Because we have invested in refurbishing the building.
And so it looks beautiful actually on the big screen, but the point is that you see recently California has been advertising the state of California, places within California, and I've been doing a lot of business with people in LA now, and there's a sense of pride. And I think pride is a critical component to coercing people into doing extraordinary things, and without having to wait on authority in order to do it. You act on your own volition. You are coerced by your own needs, etc. But that, of course, is something that the Chamber can discuss at a later venue. Let me ask the President, of course, to address it. Also, I think Mr. Neil Mohammed, how are you doing, sir? I think we wanted to ask you to say something as well. And the Treasurer of the Chamber, Mr. Ramdas, as well, with respect to, as we expand the discussion on business.
Thank you, Anthony. To tie into what Indira was saying earlier, and of course, the Mayor, those of you who speak to me on a regular basis will know I've been begging literally for years since I was established on High Street that we should have Sunday shopping. We have a captive customer base from the churches that proliferate the promenade. We have an active traveling public that utilizes High Street to get in and out of South Trinidad. When these people finish church, you see them walking up and down the street, either to take a taxi or to look at, and that is where some of the vendors capitalize on the ready market of some of these church goers. And we still have people who live and reside on San Fernando Street, Victoria Street, the one or two surrounding streets north of High Street, that people will come because on Sunday there's no fear of the wrecker. And you know, in San Fernando, we have the most efficient wrecking service in the country. You dare not park for 5 minutes because your vehicle gone. I'm not calling any names, but you know, that's what you all tell me, so I just telling you all. That the more important point, when we established the chamber in the first year of operation, we had a Mother's Day promotion on High Street along the pavement right outside here, where stores were invited to give promotional discounts, and we had some activity, some talent, some live talent that brought some people into High Street. We had printed flyers, we put it out on social media. Of course, it wasn't as active as it could be now. We still have some weeks before Mother's Day 2023. So we can tie into what Indira was saying, and of course the mayor. What I have been saying for years, that this could be the jump start to get business back on Sunday in particular. As an example, I grew up in San Fernando, Hansley, the mayor. On Sunday you can't get an ice cream or a snow cone. Really start with small things. Where we go for that? There's nowhere. So there's the answer. We have so many opportunities we could create. Sure, we're tired on Sunday, so we need to take a rest. That's fine. But we could employ somebody for the half day because the malls capitalize on Sunday by opening from lunchtime after lunch. There's no morning period where any business is open. Why can't we capitalize on that? A lot of restaurants close on Sunday. Places of entertainment close on Sunday. Let's look to have a revival Sunday morning. Or according to the Limas, you have to take what is the word you all use?
A revival.
A revival, yeah. Why they can't come on High Street and revive, or Mokrapa Street? Well, Mokrapa Street we shouldn't go there because you know what happens there. But certainly High Street could be the start of greater things to happen. So we'll have a follow-up meeting after this where we can discuss a Mother's Day promotion as something to start with. Easter is just about 2 weeks away, so it might be too close to do the Easter sort of event, but we can look towards Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a big event. We haven't had a Mother's Day promotion, of course, with the pandemic and everything that happened. So, in addition to that, I wanted to add, parking is an issue. I wanted to throw this out to the mayor and the deputy mayor for consideration to the council and of course the higher authorities. The old courthouse that was supposed to be demolished and is barred off for demolition, if we can somehow get some resources to demolish this building, the same material that we demolished, that comes from the demolition of the building could be used as a foundation for that piece of land, and we can create a temporary car park for persons to come and shop in High Street area while the relevant authorities reconstruct or put up a new building for that area. So it would help with the parking woes and of course the wrecker. You know, we have the wrecker always present. So that is somewhere that we can literally walk 2 minutes to and from. Or we could have a taxi service that picks us, do around Robin and pick up and drop. And it would service High Street and other surrounding streets for shoppers. So I want to put that on record as something we can consider, not in the very short term, but certainly within the next few weeks we can look towards doing something like that to assist with the parking. We have 1,000 car park coming up on the wharf outside of the south entrance of the western entrance of the hospital. And of course we have Southern Medical doing a multi-story car park. We have a car park also for Surgimed. So there are a lot of car parks that are developing around San Fernando that we can take advantage of. And we can advertise this for shoppers. Mucrapo Street has about 3 or 4 car parks that are hidden from public view. These are things we need to advertise to our shoppers. That is, yes, the record is present, but we have parking, we have car parks, St. James Street, Mucrapo Street, San Fernando Street, Victoria Street, and these are literally within 2 minutes walking to the downtown prime shopping area in San Fernando. So I want to just leave this thought with you as I hand over back to Hans.
Thank you very much, and in a moment to just say something. But Mayor, you would remember, sir, when we had, let me point to Port of Spain. At the time, just prior to, during 1990, between 1990 and 1995, where Nallis is located now was the old fire station building, which was a massive car park that saw the woes of people who were parking in Port of Spain. And then we had this one where the teaching hospital is currently, when that was there, I remember that as a boy growing up, that many people parked there. As a matter of fact, I used to play with ball cricket on evenings and during the weekend. And in consideration of that, why don't we, if you're saying that we have these car parks that are available, I'd want to throw a suggestion out. I don't know if we could fund it and do it. Why not a map of San Fernando? A map of the city that says you can find this here and you can find that there, just as your signs. Maybe put up bigger signs, but show people. I mean, while people have what's it called, ways to identify certain areas that they want to find or they want to go. Tobago is successful because people go out and get a map in Tobago for tourists wherever they go. I know Tobago like the back of my hand, but most people don't. And how they are able to find it. So these car parks that you're referring to, these buildings, these special things, which are critical now because we will send our locations to someone in order to find the place now. Why don't we offer them the location now as part of the novelty of a San Fernando? But tell people where these things are. They won't find it. Yeah, or just a simple map of San Fernando. And we sit down here and we identify a little free folder thing that people keep, but people still keep these things in their cars. It may be a simplistic sort of idea, but it is a consideration, Your Worship. And I can remember because when they put up Nallis, before that it was used by Baka in 1990 to shoot us at the old fire station car park during 1990, the siege. Yes, ma'am.
I love the idea, however, that would work for the owners who would read the maps. But these young people now, they just can't afford. So what I suggest, together with that, is like, in the Plaza here, we have these QR codes where we can scan instead of opening a map, and it's right on our phone, and we see everywhere we're going.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
And it's cheap.
And if it can be done, let the chamber initiate it. Let the chamber initiate it. I mean, you know, there is something that I've also come to realize is that government also has its own problems. Local government has its own problems, its daily problems. And I've been in these systems. I've worked as a communications director for the Ministry of Education, and listen, if a jet bite a child, these are the things that you have to be dealing with almost on a daily basis. So all your grandiose plans are very difficult to implement simply because you're so bogged down by the nature of our people here in Trinidad and Tobago. And that in itself, so we've got to take our own initiative when that is concerned. Mr. Horsley?
Question direct to His Worship. We're just about to have the international waterfront, which is honestly massive development. How do you intend to marry that with the inner city hear Mr. Mayor for his quick response. Thank you.
It was certainly interesting, and as we all know, those of you who are of my age, we have been waiting for this waterfront to come in stream. And there's nobody more excited than that than the seniors and the people who have the responsibility. We have been talking with various agencies. That is would be a great plus for us in terms of what it will produce. Of course, we're looking at moving business back and forth, and people will be gravitating down there. Also, there will be housing apartments that will be constructed. That's begin in the next couple of months. So, business people in this area thinking now, you have to think long term in terms of what will happen in San Fernando between now and the next 5 years, and be ready for it. So I think it is an exciting time for us. We can, as I said before, we can present things to you all. You have to capitalize on the opportunity. So let's think about degree, food, shopping, supermarket, because if you're living down there, you don't want to be going to the Gulf or C3 or South Africa or something. The opportunities of how you reset or reposition yourself as a business person. What is saying in the long and short that this area, the inner city, or particularly High Street area and Lower High Street, will certainly become a central hub for shopping in San Fernando. I hope you all are aware and understand that, and you will be prepared for that in terms of your investment. If I answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Neil Mohammed, Fred Mohammed.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will break from tradition a little bit and address you all. Not the panel, just yet. I've been born into a business, and like many of you, I'm the second generation. So I've seen our business start up very, very small, very humble, and have grown over the years, much to the credit of my dad, and to where it is today. And I know many of you feel the same way. Let me go back a few years into my history of San Fernando. I went to grad school as a youngster, and in those days, I would walk the streets after school because my mom couldn't drive in those days, and I had to wait until 4 o'clock or 4:30 for my dad to send a driver when a driver came in to pick me up from grad school. And this would be my play area years ago. And what I used to enjoy going into Woolworths. I don't know if you all remember. There was a Woolworth at the top here.
Soft serve ice cream.
And I used to, well, you remember soft serve ice cream. I remember stealing the sweets. Because there were these huge tables. And you could go and steal sweets and nobody knew. And I used to enjoy doing that. The thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, is this. San Fernando was fun back then. It was interesting. It was a place of adventure. It's not so anymore. And what's happening, I think we need to go back to really what the issues are. Yes, some of the solutions may lie with the mayor, the police, the chamber. But really and truly, we need to ask ourselves, and we have to have these meetings more often as far as I'm concerned, about what really are the problems. And this is how I identify it. And maybe I could identify it a little more, because I'll tell you why. When Petrotrin was earmarked to move some years ago, we got really scared in Marlborough. I mean, really scared. At that time, the problems that you may have now was not as apparent to us in Marlborough. 6,000 people, 6,000 of your customers, or maybe more. You would wake up one day and they're no longer there. And in Marlborough, some of the business people if not all of us, went into a different thinking, went into a different mindset. And I think the time has come where all of us have to confront that issue. And once we confront that issue, some of these solutions will start coming. I have been to many of these meetings before, and with all due respect to everybody, we always talk about the same things over and over. We earmark the mayor, we earmark the police, we talk about wrecking, we talk about vagrants, and they are all relevant issues, don't get me wrong. But what are the real issues? Well, let me care to share, and if you would agree, what are some of the real issues? Number one, our businesses may go under. Is that real enough? Well, all right, let me talk about me. When Petrotrin moved out, that was the number one thing in our mind for Fen Mohammed's stores, because we were the only business that had so many locations in Marabella. Our family invested in Marabella, as many of you here. Some of you here, I hear some of you all here are multi-generational. And to exist for so long, and to have members of your family devote their life's work to something, and then because of an economic reason, or because of COVID, or because of no US, or because of other things, your business might go under. It's a very real issue. And I know some of that is what you all are thinking and feeling and experiencing. The reason why we're here is not to have a conversation, but you're scared. What will the future hold? And will I be in business much longer? The problem with San Fernando and with other places in Trinidad is people are leaving. People are leaving San Fernando. This is the main issue. And if they leave San Fernando, which they are doing, then what happens? The place is going to go through a certain degree of decay. Businesses can't afford to do renovation if there are no business, if there's less business. Would you agree? And then there are the economic reasons. There are the reasons ease of doing business is a problem in this country. I don't call it the ease of doing business. The ease of doing business, when there's an ease, I call it the difficulties in doing business. Okay? Then you have the other things, like the records, the crime, the vagrancy, but I would put that at the bottom of the list. The top of the list is, does my business have what it takes to survive? And if the answer is, I don't know, or maybe, then we're in a problem. All due respect to some people here, and maybe others, the only businesses that making money now, you see them hospitals, you see who building the car parks? The funeral homes. Because that tells you the state of the shift of when something happens in an economy, people will continue to make money. But is it the people that are depending on the economy to go forward? So, what the question is, the real gist of the matter is, what do we do? And in my view, all of us together have to have these meetings more often. That's number one. Because I'll tell you something, I am not part of Kieran's chamber. He and I are friends. We went to Naparima College together. And he and I have great conversations as part of our friendship. But I am a member of no chamber. Not because I don't like chambers or anything, but I didn't have the time traditionally, but now I feel I have to make the time because I want to share my own interests. with you all. The real gist of the matter is, people are leaving San Fernando for a multitude of reasons. And I'll tell you this, if I'm a traveler to San Fernando and I'm taking a taxi, the minute I can afford a car, I will not come back to San Fernando. Agreed? That's a problem. So we all have to get together, talk more often, and decide what type of future we want for San Fernando, and by extension ourselves. What we do and make the mistake is talk about our own future and then think about San Fernando after. And if we continue to do that, this is going to be the result. We have to talk about San Fernando first. I heard people say about Sundays, excellent idea. But you know what people are not talking about? San Fernando nightlife. San Fernando, when I was growing up, had a tremendous nightlife. So we need to look at that, and the people who come and own those businesses from that aspect, we need to talk to them as well, because they are some of the people that are responsible for bringing back people to San Fernando. Having a sale every once in a while, making the place attractive with tents and so on, yes, is a solution, but it's a short-term solution. What we want to hear are long-term solutions, and we want our administrators to back it. That is part of the problem that we didn't have before. After we have these lovely conversations, then there's another conversation. How do we back this thing? Those conversations never happen. Right? So I think my contribution here is to bring a greater awareness of what can happen, what may happen, and what will happen. We need to bring life back to our cities. And I'd just like to suggest two things. Just two. We have a problem with food prices in this country. But in my view, we don't utilize our markets the way we should. And one of the problems we have is that people go sometimes to unaffordable places for their food. And when you really look at it, it's because our markets, to some degree, are underutilized. In my view, a market should be a place that is safe and people can go to in the day as well as in the evening. Up to 7, 8, half 8 in the night. Because you have a certain percentage of our population that leave home early in the morning and come back late at night. Are we catering for them? Maybe not. Maybe we need to look at that. And then our markets are supposed to be a multi-purpose place. You can go to a market not only to buy food, but to get cooked food too. We have not explored that yet. And by doing something as simple as that, you bring people back to the city. Because they have a reason. I am not going to come to High Street 7 o'clock in the night if I don't have a reason. Yeah, I need to have a reason. But if I am going there, I'm coming to San Fernando, I am out later than I should. It's safe. It has purpose. We can come back to something. There's utility in this thing. Then we can start in those places and start building on what else. You know, we are about number 5 or 6 in the chain, you know. We're not number 1. A lot of things have to happen first before our numbers are called. I think the mayor spoke about infrastructure, but there are different types of infrastructure, right? So I just wanted, I could go on and on about this thing, but I think the main thing really, from one business person to another, is to remind ourselves what these meetings are about and why we're here. And I want to say it again. It's because head table. Me and these people here, if we don't do something, we may go under. And when that happens, no matter what we talk about, the integrity and the infrastructure of the city will not survive. Right? So I just wanted to talk about that, set the ground for what really are the relevant issues, and maybe we could hear from other people in the world. Thank you.
I would like to respond, Mr. Moderator, and begin by saying that San Fernando is a cusp of development. Beginning in the era of 2000 to 2010, when the Patrick Manning administration built 3,000 houses in and around San Fernando. We moved from 51,000 persons to over 60,000 citizens in the city of San Fernando. That type of movement, that type of that additional numbers that came to San Fernando obviously would have improved business. Within the past 7 to 8 years, the government of Trinidad and Tobago under the Rowley administration again proposed to spend 1.6 billion in the city of San Fernando. The waterfront refurbishment project, development project, the Skinner Park development project to go with the magistrate court, the family court, the Carlton Lane development program, and so many other projects coming in stream of C3 and its whole development outside there, the South Park, and of course Gulf City, and all those cinemas coming there. I think San Fernando is at a very good place. Let me also add, our crime rate in this division is lower than anywhere else. Those are positives that we must hold on to and hold dear and appreciate at the same time. So yes, there are people migrating to Port of Spain because people like to be on the avenue and things like that. Port of Spain has its own attractiveness. But there's something unique about San Fernando that keeps us in San Fernando, why we want to be in San Fernando. I had the option of living in Port of Spain, but I really like San Fernando. San Fernando is a very special place. And whatever is unique about San Fernando, we must hold on to and improve upon. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. If we're talking about the waterfront development, what Skinner Park brings, the government invested $131 million in Skinner Park. That's not a lie down there. Skinner Park going to provide us with opportunities for sport, and culture, and other leisure activities. Likewise, the waterfront development. I spoke a while ago about how prepared are we, or are we preparing for the waterfront development? But that waterfront development will start from the Gulf area, going all the way up to the Bistabala Yacht Club. Are we aware of that? Are we familiar with it? How many of us went on the line and look at that program and see what opportunities it's going to present to us, and how we as business people are going to reposition ourselves to benefit from that? There's a saying, I understand, I'm not a cabinet minister, but I understand that the saying, if you put one bag of cement in San Fernando again, it will sink in the Gulf of Paria. That's the kind of investment that the government need in the city of San Fernando. The owners need you, the business people, to capitalize on it.
Mr. Mayor, I beg one. In terms of the home dwellers, I haven't heard anything from you. In terms of the street dwellers, the people who's on. Thank you, sir. In terms of the street dwellers and the people who sleep on the streets at night, I heard all the development, the plans of the billion-dollar industry that as you develop the waterfront, what plan you have to house these people? I thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, that has been a sore point for quite a while because of the system as it stands right now. You arrest them. Mr. President, you want to respond to that?
President, good afternoon, good night everyone. The problem with the street dwellers is a problem that is not only limited to San Fernando. I came from working in Port of Spain for 50 years. And some years ago in Port of Spain, we had an exercise where we arrested approximately nearly every street dweller in Port of Spain, approximately 150 of them. And what would have happened when we took them to court? 90+% of them were released by the magistrate. The others that were taken, that were charged, the court did not want the personnel attached to the court did not want to even deal with these persons. We had to contact the chief magistrate to intervene just to get these persons before the magistrate and all. We had problems with just getting these people to, the police could have arrested them, but they were not getting any convictions. And that is one of the problems with the magistrates, I don't want to talk too much with magistrates, but they don't take it as serious as how, I guess, members of the business community will take it. They have a more sympathetic approach to persons in this position, right? The real problem is the Ministry of Social Development tried another program too, where they went to the police for them, they tried to take them up, the lawyers got in and said, no, what give the Ministry of Social Development the authority to pick up these persons and remove them? And that was a legal issue, right? Very, very, very prominent attorneys got in. So it's not to say that we can just go and polish people. They must be committing some specific offense. And without that, there's limited we can do. With regards to the ones that are maybe violent, we have a little more grounds. If they're acting violent, we will be able to arrest them and take them before the San Fernando General Hospital and try and get them admitted to the St. Anne's for his process. That is one of the few grounds we could really deal with those persons, with the violent ones. They must be posing a danger to the members of this public. Right? As well as we walk around naked, the police tired Holly in Santa and put on clothes on him. They carry him to the hospital, he back out by the time. Before 6 o'clock in the evening, he's back out. I just see him done my nap school, my son goes to naps, and I see him there so often. It does bother me too, when I see him. But I know it's not much, because we don't really have that authority with street dwelling, right? Loitering is an offense. But if they're going to enforce loitering, you might have to look up every lineman in San Fernando. Right, so I don't know if I answered that, but it is a social problem that is not so much a legal problem.
That guy is blessed.
Can you hold the mic up somewhat?
That guy is blessed that you are talking about. But we are the ones who are to blame for street dwellers as well. Because there's housing for them and they don't go. But we feel sorry and we feed them on the streets. And you encourage them. When I have overstocked items, I go to the Home of the Aged and Shamrock, where they're supposed to be housed. But if people continue feeding them on the streets, they're going to stay right there because they're going to get that. They don't have to follow no instructions. They're not accountable for anything. So we are to blame. A second thing is, yes, we hold the head table accountable for what they're supposed to be accountable for. Policing, city, things like that. But according to Mr. Mohammed, this is a chamber here, right? And we inside there will go pour us financial want us to shop. But will not support nobody inside there with nothing over. It's only since I joined this chamber, I started to do investment with people who I get to see in the chamber, right? People who come to the meetings, you don't get to see the people and what business they have. If you don't support your own people and your own home, you can't expect the set table to do nothing. You will die, guess what? See me what Mr. Mohammed see. This is a chamber here. Start from within, self. If you don't see about yourself here, there's no way you can ask them to help us because we're not helping ourselves, right? Yes, I have a bakery, and I will still support other bakery, and I will support people inside there who have members of this chamber here. And that's the only way we can survive, and that's the only way we can support each other to grow to be better, right? Should bonus people is do that, and Porter Spain is do that, so why not we? Because we will sit down and watch each other and say he have that and she have this. But if you don't support the business inside here, the schools, right? Ms. West might know me, I was different and small when I was younger in her class. But if I know that she continues, I will send my kids and other kids by her. This is that, right? But the whole thing is, we need to support ourselves here. It's hard to say, some of it started it. I mean, the head table wouldn't come and tell it because it's contrary to how they would stand. But if only don't look at ourselves and help ourselves inside here, there's no way we're going to survive. I will survive because I sell food, and I make sure I get the quality of my food, right? My staff know that. And there's 3 businesses I say could always survive: a drugstore, a rum shop, and a food place. Wherever you go, right? well, no. Freedom Home has advanced because of COVID, right? But before it wasn't as much, right? But as I say, we have to support ourselves. We can hold them accountable for what they have to be accountable for, yes, and we should do that, right? Hold them accountable for what they're supposed to say about, which is policing, the wrecking issue, and as you may say, there's building. I see us. I want to go in San Fernando. I'm not going to leave San Fernando to go nowhere in other space to live. I go on my neighbor's street here, and there are people, places who are deplorable, right? You can't expect them to come and do something and paint up your place. We have to do it on our own, and if we don't start that, don't blame nobody else.
I just want to ask one follow-up question, please, if I may.
To the municipal police, is it true that within the statutory meeting, a law was passed there where you will charge people for feeding the homeless? Is that law inactive and still existing? I remember under the last His Worship Hussein, they had passed that law to charge people. Can you speak to that? Thank you.
No, it was, we had to adjust it by law to make it possible. There was some legal matters there because I think somebody filed an injunction against us, challenge us and take us to court. So our corporate secretary had to revisit the bylaws. So it kind of a standstill as we speak.
That was reported.
It's the Skippy, what is his name?
Skippy Barrett.
Skippy Barrett. Skippy took us to court. It says illegal to do that, and we had to look at our bylaws. So technically that had to be settled. And the gentleman is right. There's Shamrock Court and there's the shelter on the wharf where you advise to take food to, because those people on Harris Promenade who assemble there, they do not want to be in a controlled environment. They want to behave badly outside there. They are very obscene. There are schools in the area, in the vicinity, and there's not healthy to have these people around there. There are spots every now and again, they're throwing stones and bottle again at each other. And if they a bottle or a brick hit a child, somebody gets seriously injured, then you will be blaming the city corporation or the police for that matter. You should desist from doing that, but people, every day we have an issue with that. And at the end of the day, city corporation has to have people out there cleaning up the debris and the leftovers and the styrofoam. There's a fountain opposite City Hall. It's clogged every now and again, and the jets cost us about $17,000 to $18,000 to repair because plastic and other styrofoam gets into the jet and damages the jet. How many times will we see that?
There was a situation on Abercrombie Street, Your Worship, where in front of a prominent, this organization is well known to Trinidad, it's called SEWA. And this organization had a kitchen on Abercrombie Street at a prominent lawyer's place. And I remember I was taken there to visit the place where the cooking was going on. And these people go at night, feeding people around Dallas, up Abercrombie Street, up St. Vincent Street, Edward, etc., wherever homeless people are. And these people know that they're coming at night, and they wait for it. About a week later, I went on to Abercrombie Street, and when I saw in front of the kitchen a whole set of homeless people sleeping in front of the gate, waiting for the food. And I asked that prominent attorney, I said, whose soul are you really trying to save here, yours or his? So while we have philanthropists and altruistic people, etc., within our community, can the city develop where, while it's law, and I know you came up hard against it, it was reported excessively, and Mr. Skippy saw it as a political implement to grant some relevance to himself politically. But can the city develop a policy where we start asking, it may not be law, but policy is one thing, law is another. Develop a policy whereby we discourage, and because many of these people who are feeding these people are well-to-do citizens in this country who for some reason
and they mean well.
And they mean well, but in your enthusiasm, don't let it cloud your better judgment. Where I live, there's a park in the St. Augustine area where there's some stray dogs now that gather in the park because people come feeding the stray dogs. But mind you, they're not going to do that in their own home. They come in there and they're feeding the dogs, so the dogs know to go there. So I am saying, if we ask these people to give food to these shelters, take the food to the shelters, because these fellas will go where the food is. And it's as simple as that. So the gathering of those vagrants in front, or those homeless people in front of that gate on Abercrombie Street was a clear sign that they know this is where the food is coming from.
As with reference to the policy, we have been advocating that for years.
Yeah.
Signs were installed saying that the people are oblivious state or do not want to adhere to our guidelines. More importantly, this has become a hustle. There are families that leave their homes with the children and assemble on the bandstand on promenade on a Sunday to collect food. It's not that they can't afford, but they see it as a means of saving. And there's that side of it as well. There are people eat 6 and 7 times per day. I had a picture I saw, it was Christmas Day, my wife and I were driving around, and we saw a guy fall asleep. Everybody remember that? Fall asleep on the promenade with about 9 or 10 packets of lunches next day when he was drunk. I posted it on social media. He collected, because they started to serve from 9, 10 in the morning and they go on all day. By lunchtime, the homeless person started to select what they want and refuse what they don't want. Sometimes they sell for who came late. And then they pick out the meat and leave the rice and the peas and things like that. It is disgusting. So we understand it. Yes, we understand that there's that side of it where you want to help and save its soul, but you're doing more harm, more damage to society because it's not done in a sanitary condition. There's also things happening there and it's not healthy. So this is something that we have to work on. We intend to have a stakeholders meeting on that, because we also seriously considering fencing the promenade. And because there are all sorts of nocturnal activities happening there now as we speak. You can buy anything you want on the promenade. And we must be aware of those things. So the people outside there who say, well, you know, we are being harsh, and Manstand was given to the public by Lord Harris for the people of leisure, the case may be. But this is a different time we live in. There's nudity and prostitution, also things happening there. So we are proposing to fence the promenade and have it open at 7 a.m. in the morning and close around this time in the evening to protect the environment, to protect the place.
And you were successful, your worship, in doing it at Irving Park.
Yeah.
So do it now.
So, but you know, of course, you have the naysayers who will say whatever they have to say. So we intend to have a meeting like this in 2 weeks' time and do a plan, proposal, and let the public have a say in the matter before we implement it.
Mr. Deodat Ramdas, I believe that you have more or less something to address us with on the issue of accounting, etc. And I think it borrows on the idea of what Mr. Mohammed was referring to about the ease of doing business. Or should I say the difficulties of doing business, which you're absolutely right.
We're talking about Forex.
Come forward. Leo.
Good evening all. Oh, Mr. Mayor, nothing to do with Forex. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm an accountant in practice, so I can enumerate many problems that business people face on a day-to-day basis. Mr. Mohammed and briefly mentioned the ease or the non-ease of doing business. Mr. Mayor, it is very difficult to do business now. It's very difficult. One, to open a simple thing like a bank account, the kind of information that you need to provide is a nightmare.
But before you go further, I saw recently where the bankers are addressing that now, and there are steps are being taken to reduce the hardship and the challenges that you're faced with that.
Right.
What are may I go further? We have white collar crime, money laundering. All of these things contribute to the challenges that you're talking about and why we have to adopt this kind of approach. And money laundering and white collar crime is rampant, and you should know that.
Well, we understand that, but at least the banking community should know their customers and should be a bit lenient.
Well, in the case, I think it's a case of Peter paying for Paul. That's what it is.
So that's one. The second issue is that of technology. Like the Registrar General's department has been closed since November. The bank insists that you, in order to do business, you have to get an annual return, you have to know who the directors are, you have to know who have the beneficial interest, and again, nothing is happening there. So I do not know how you can use a good office in order to...
well, you know, sir, I'm hearing you, and I am trying to establish some kind of equilibrium in going forward. Business people have to be also straightforward how they do their business, right? And we have issues here with some, I'm not saying, I'm not casting pity on the same brush. How you do things, how you invest, how you reinvest in the country, as opposed to taking your resources outside. How many Trinidadians have homes in Miami? How many Trinidadians invested outside, as opposed to making money and taking the money outside the country? What's going to happen to the next generation and the next generation? Your responsibility, charity begins at home. Are you reinvesting in Trinidad? What about research and development? We can't only be a buy and sell community. So you have an opportunity to make money, to reinvest here. So sometimes you create problems for yourselves. The authorities and the government and whoever agencies there are have a responsibility to protect the country and protect what goes on here. There are too many people. We have the most amount of billionaires and millionaires that you could think about per capita. So if it is you have that, what are you doing with resources? How is that coming back to the country? And that's part of the problem. So those with responsibility have to put stringent measures in place to protect what we have. Their money stockpile and make investment elsewhere, everywhere except Trinidad. We pay property tax in Miami, but we will not pay it in San Fernando in Trinidad. There's so many problems. Proceed, sir.
Well, we hear you, Mr. Mayor, but these are things that will assist the business community. So one of the things, though, that I'm interested in San Fernando is seeing that San Fernando is a bit gloomy at night. There needs to be some more bright lights, these flashing lights.
Just a whole also. Christmas pass, Carnival pass. Some of these store owners on High Street who charging $60,000, $70,000 a month for the stores will not put up one light, one bright light, one Christmas decoration, one happy holiday. All those things create buzz, create excitement, it create business opportunities. The High Street is dismal and dark. We, the corporation, the deputy mayor, we spend money, we buy bulbs and put street lights all over the promenade. We used to do it on High Street. But why should we do it on High Street when you are making money in High Street? We did it on Harris Promenade. We had lighted poles along Transfield Lane and Independence Avenue. Not one businessman could have one sign saying Happy Independence, Happy Anniversary, Happy something, Happy anything. And you're making money. So it doesn't work like that. And if you want to make San Fernando, we as children growing up in San Fernando used to do window shopping. You know why we did window shopping? Because the store did something for us to come and look at in the evening. It was lit, it was bright, it was exciting. But your business, and I'm not knocking anybody here, I'm just showing from as I see it. You are concerned what happens between 6, 8 in the morning and 5, 6, 7 in the evening. What happens after? You have a responsibility as well. Proceed, sir.
Yeah, so we appreciate your comment, Mr. Mayor, and that is as true as it may be, but we, from the Chamber's perspective, will present some suggestions as to lighting up of San Fernando, all Broadway, etc. Because I think that will definitely attract back some level of business into San Fernando. The idea of a Sunday shopping too, it is really a good idea, because when you go away, when you go to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, etc., you can go any time of the week and do your shopping. There's no restrictions, nothing is closed, everything is open, and I would like to contribute to that idea of having a Sunday shopping. Another issue, Mr. Mayor, is that we are now we drive cars, everybody here have 1, 2, 3 cars, etc. And there is still some teething problems at the licensing office that needs to be ironed out, because we are scared, literally I'm scared to come into San Fernando because I don't have a sticker, for the simple reason being that they can't find my credentials on their computer system. And my vehicles are original vehicles that literally had all of those things, and I don't know why we're having these kinds of problems. So I'm a little bit scared to come into San Fernando because the police has always seemed to be very interested in stopping you and pointing to your sticker. So I don't know again if your office can help us in that idea.
All right, but with regards to the sticker, no person has been charged for the stickers for the year as far as I am aware. There has been I don't want to say instruction, but a guideline that they are going to hold up on that until such time further. No one has been charged. Right? So you're more or less safe coming in San Fernando still for now.
Thank you, Chief, for that assurance, but you know, we are a little bit scared. So, I will like to close there, but I would really like to see a little more brightness in the area of High Street, of Broadway, of Ciparo Street, because a lot of this now. And when you go away and you see how these streets are lit up, I mean, it encourages you to walk in the night or to go shopping. But here, after 6 o'clock, everything is closed. So I thank you all, and I thank you, Mr. Hansley, for the opportunity to address him here and his team.
You're also faced with the dilemma that if you do go putting up a light over there, somebody's going to tell you it's not your building. And that's a reality.
You know, recently, Hansley, I met Minister Gonzalez at a function, and I mentioned Harris Promenade, and we were able to really light up the promenade. Anybody recently, within the past couple of months, took a drive around the promenade at night. It's much more brighter than High Street because of what's happening there. High Street is a different layout, but I think collectively, you see, it has to be aesthetically pleasing to the eyes as well. And I think that High Street has become somewhat shabby in terms of the way we treat the building, because I was doing some investigation recently. There's a particular building where rent collected for the month from that building is somewhere in the vicinity of close to $80,000 or $90,000. My quiet and private, and not you, Mr. Kiran Singh, is what you're thinking about.
Thanks very much.
My investigation revealed that that building is now almost like a third-generation building, so there's no mortgage ready. But the building could take a coat or two, a paint. What's that will cost you? When you look at your intake, your profit margin, what you're doing, and this is the disadvantage you are at when you look at what's happening with the malls. The malls constantly reinvesting and doing things to improve their aesthetics, to pull people to the malls. How are we responding to that? You already have, I identified earlier on, you have all these government offices surrounding High Street and the inner city. Government offices, all these agencies, all these private enterprises you have around there, shop stores, and you have that working for you. But how are you holding on to it? You should want, it needs to have a store somewhere where somebody is outside saying, come and take a look inside on a megaphone. Come and take a look inside. You remember that? Yeah. Those are the catchment things that you can use, but do you want to go and look at a store looking sharp and dismal and you have a set of boxes on the outside with loud, vulgar looking price tags? Right? It has to be done. This is 2023. We have to be together with the times. People now go and get the nails done and the hair done and the face done, and every day that's the kind of pride that we have. We take care of ourselves, And if you want to attract me, you have to take care of your business. And you're not doing that. So you're complaining that you're not making money, but what are you doing? I look around and walk around. Anybody can tell you as a mayor, I walk high almost every day. I walk and look and observe because I have to report back to council. And we discuss these issues. So if you have something working for you, what are you doing? We are at a cusp of development and success and progress. San Fernando is moving. Are you going to be left behind? When the waterfront development come on stream, that whole area will transform. When we're going to have something along the lines of one good book place on the waterfront, on the wharf, it will change. Are you ready for that? Will you be prepared for that? We're going to start the TGR building. We'll start in 2 months' time. A museum will be going down there. There'll be restaurants, mini museum, place for entertainment, boardwalk, whatever happened there within the next year or two. Are you ready for that? Are you going to have a little shabby place, a little store that dingy looking and no lights, as my friend has said, and expect people down there come in to buy it from you? It is high-rise apartments going down there. San Fernando be better than other places. I don't want to call any name at this point. But we have to be prepared and reposition ourselves what's going to happen. So don't make an investment in Florida or in Miami. Make it here. Because here is going to be happening. I wish I was 19 years old. I wish I was young. Because this is such an exciting place. And I wish I had $5 million sitting down in some bank or hiding somewhere. But this is time to invest it. And this is why we're having this conversation this evening.
Mr.
And before I go further, what Neil was saying a while ago, it's about business, about risk. It's about risk. What Las Vegas was like 50 years ago. What Dubai was like 30 years ago. Because they understand and they have vision and they were ready. You have money, but you're not ready. Because you're not prepared. If you're not prepared, what are you doing? You have to take risks, but you must understand and have vision. This is why the world advanced. People look at Disney World. Walter Disney was a crazy man. Some people think he was crazy, but he had vision. So you have to have vision with your money and ideas.
Okay, just a quick follow-up question through the chair to His Worship. Where Mr. Dew left out, in terms of electricity, I know we have councillors that run through the city area, and I know there is a street lighting program. Can you speak to that? Because even though we want the businesses to light up, there is street lamps, and what you can do, like we talk in metropolitan countries and so on, in the major cities, you will see on the said lamp pole, they will have 3 street lights projecting out. What sort of plan that the council and through your statutory board, how you treat with that? Because I know there is a relationship with TNTech where they do that. Can you speak to that, Mr. Mayor? Thanks a lot.
That's a TNTech issue, Mr. Sir, in terms of what we really want to do there. I mean, that question kind of a little convoluted in terms of what we, that's not our responsibility. That is strictly TNTech. We could only advocate, but we don't control that. I think the direction TNTech is going, I thought you were going in terms of what is the discussion going on right now with the rates. I was a little taken aback to say that was held last week Saturday at the community center, not right here. So they'll cover with that. However, it has to do with the energy saving aspect right now, and that's where I think TNTech is going. And it is very extremely costly.
Okay, hi, good night. So my question is posed to you towards you spoke about the condition that building owners have their properties.
Some of the buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the city doing about it? Because you guys are planning a development.
Well, I'm glad, before you go further, I like that part of it because I look at what, for instance, well, I can't compare the banks to some people because the banks have done a pretty good job in what they have done in terms of keeping themselves looking to be banks making money, but some of the businessmen are also making money. We have been looking at that. We don't want to come down to Harlem people, but business people in San Fernando generally have been breaking the law, left, right, and center. They encroach on the pavement between High Street and St. James Street. After FCB, the entire pavement is being used by a business person. Business people use the pavement where pedestrians are supposed to walk to display their goods. And that's illegal. Why we or the municipal police, when you're walking down the street, move back your cart, move back your trolley, put your goods back inside, put your mannequins back inside. All these things add to the problems that we have. It's indiscipline, left, right, and center.
But in my opinion, those are things within your control, right? So you cannot interfere with things that are not in your control because you don't own these properties. But the things that you can put in place is planning and development at your disposal. Ensure that these buildings are up to fire codes and standards. That is within your control. With regards to the aesthetics in the community, like for example, I visited my government offices this week, and I must say the service was excellent. Yes, I went and I reviewed my driving permit and I did my ID card, and it probably took me 2 to 3 hours to get both done, right? So I must give commendation where it is due. However, the condition of those offices are atrocious. You are still sitting outside in the Hudson and license office, and the ID card office is COVID central because it's so small and the volume of persons that have to be there on a daily basis is ridiculous. The parking is also ridiculous, right? And as a business owner, I contribute towards my taxes. I pay my VAT. Of course, we don't get VAT returns, so it's no incentives really to reinvest. So that's just a couple of my points there. With regards to shopping in Sando.
But I just comment on what you just said, and I agree with you. When you look at the increase of the population in San Fernando over the years, and we have outgrown the licensing office down there, it's totally outdated, and that has to be revisited. But the comparison about business places in High Street that needs to be improved in terms of the aesthetics cannot be compared to government agencies, because the objective here is to bring people to High Street to purchase, as opposed to what happens at the government agency. You have to go there to renew your permit, as the case may be. But that has been going on and on and on. But the objective here is, how do we get people to come to High Street?
So that's my next point, as in I will not come to High Street to shop. I will prefer to go to the mall. For example, today I came to High Street because of this meeting. I walked from here to Rituals and the vendors on the side of the road. The things that they say to you, they heckle you, they interfere with you, they touch you. I don't want anybody in my personal space. From here to Rituals, and that was like about 5 persons with selling their produce on the side of the road, right? 1. 2, I went to the jewelry shop to purchase jewelry, and the owner is like, put that in the bottom of your bag, to keep it close to you and things like that, to go to a jewelry shop right there. So I feel safer to purchase these things at the mall, where it's safer, the infrastructure is better, the security is better, the parking is better.
Well, my wife is sitting behind you, and we buy our jewelry on High Street. And every Christmas, I take her shop list, and we never been marked before. And in fact,
exactly.
No. Mr. Fraser will tell you, Mr. Fraser will tell you, and anybody in here who know me will tell you, I do not use no security detail.
Because I'm like, I don't come from Plaza. I only came here for
No, I am, okay, being the mayor, I have no progress at all. I almost got arrested on the coffee one carnival Tuesday night. I don't have no security detail. I tell Mr. Fraser, don't waste no time. Mr. President, no officer, no. Anybody will tell you to be walking High Street by myself most nights. I don't, and I do shop on High Street. I shop on High Street all the time. So, but I take your point. We do have a problem with the vendors and the standard and the level of the all the people, the operators. Because what happens? What is happening? The vendor you see there is not the real vendor. The vendor is a hustler. The vendor is selling for the middleman, and the middleman is pushing for the main man. The main man is a businessman. The main man has a warehouse 2 streets from here. The main man packs his goods into a panel van and he distributes to the middleman. And the middleman comes on High Street and drop off to the hustler. So, no, I'm not just giving you, I am just providing some clarity on what the issues are. You know that? No, what I just said, are you familiar with that story? No, listen, I understand your point, but I'm trying to provide some information here for all to understand what we're dealing with, because vending is not as simple as it is. Because when it comes across and we take measures to stop it, let me tell you what we hear. The mayor heartless, the mayor against the small man, the mayor want to stop the small man. I'm trying to tell you and all here and sundry, it is not the small man. There's a bigger and a bigger man behind the small man. Do you know that? Right, so that's the point I'm trying to make. We are not being hard on the small man. There's somebody making millions of dollars and is not hiring anybody, doesn't have a store like you have, and is not paying any taxes that you're doing, and they're managing a big store from a warehouse easily by beating the system. In other words, then you could close down your store actually and don't pay somebody $60,000 rent. Have 3-4 vans redistributed from the bottom of your house, from your basement, and have 3-4 hustlers on High Street. Look outside, look at something outside there. Like, it is unacceptable. And when we take steps to stop it, there are citizens, good citizens, who will go out on the papers and bash and not blame Deputy Mayor Getaway, don't blame Mr. Fraser. Is this heartless, cold mayor who don't care about poor people and who don't like small people? So at the end of the day, we have to have a comprehensive understanding of what the issues are. It is more profound than we think it is. It is smart men, businessmen beating the system and affecting all of us here. Because if you doing the right thing and somebody doing the wrong thing, then they're defeating the purpose, and there's no right way to do the wrong thing. That's what we're talking about. So vending, I'm glad that we raised the issue of vending here, because I stood up here, I am appalled by some of the things I'm seeing. What we have done over the years is to allow people to vend, Mr. President, but it's 5 days. So they vend from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we stop them on Tuesday and Friday. Because Tuesday and Friday we think that the genuine store owners can have their stock taken as the case may be, replenished as the case may be, and have at least 2 days for themselves. They want the vendors who are upset about that, a little bit carry why they can't have 7 days like everybody else. But we did not, and we cannot allow that. But we are going to be calling them in shortly, and I want to take some notes by you here, your views and your thoughts, so we can call them in and really rat up to them about the behavior as you described a while ago there, because it's unacceptable. You have people looking all how, without the care of the world, molesting people when you're shopping. That's unacceptable. Of course. The disrespect to the police. One of them even slapped a police officer a couple of years ago. You should be able to deal with. Jan, you know we accept, and this is what we're saying, because Mr. President can tell you we have a plan in place to deal with them. But I thought that this meeting was important to get feedback from you, so we can formulate our plan and going forward.
I understand her case and everybody's case, but the accountability still lies with the police if we have an increase in patrol, because an increase in patrol would at least slow down that kind of thought or thinking about interfering with public walking up and down the space. I know there's an issue with the vending issue, that's something that you will have to handle, but at least with the increased policing, it should make people, pedestrians, feel a little safer walking, and that's what we don't see, because I'm very sure if you walk down patrols and go watch outside now, and there is not much police presence that you would see, that you would feel safe to actually walk. Same thing with Mr. Rigalo said. I remember walking from Keith Street to Moklapa Street to the next place with money in my pocket at 10 years of age to snack it. Carnival time, and nobody was afraid of that. You can't do that now because the police presence is not there. Second question that Mr. Dewey raised with lighting, sir, is there are things that the San Fernando City Corporation could do with some lighting on the poles, especially if when you go back to the office, take Moklapa Street and go to Money Market. I'm sorry, but you're allowing Mokrapa Street to die, and it needs that brighten up. The market maybe need to show some kind of livelihood to advertise it, because we need that part. So what Mr. Leo may say, yes, the accountability is with the people to do marketing in their own shops, right? You are accountable as owners, but we could also hold the city accountable in regards to lighting up which part you are responsible for. In that aspect, I think what you say goes with Tech, but I'm sure it goes hands in hand with the city corporation and Tech. And there are some streets that you really need LED lights maybe, not these yellow lights, to help right now, because I come and do deposits in the night, Scotia Bank, Royal Bank, down there, Brother Man. Sorry, but in case, I do all the banks. There is all the banks in Trinidad, right? And you come out and you have to actually watch out people and look, lighting is poor, right? And you're not safe. You don't feel that sense of safety. So yes, accountability is with the policing to make us pedestrians and store owners feel safer as well.
So could you say your name, please, sir? On the gentleman's name who was speaking just now?
Sure.
Say it again?
Lachman Singh, sure.
Sean Lachman Singh. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lachman Singh, if I reply to you, recently the municipal police changed their duties. And the main reason for the change of the duties was to allow a greater amount of officers to be on duty each and every day. Right? And by doing that, we are increasing our patrols. Each shift has been given guidelines with how many patrols they should carry out each day. Right? And we will be taking accountability at the end of it. Started just about 2 weeks ago, we restructured the duties. So you will see an increase in the patrols. Another thing with regard to the foot patrols, what will happen? Sometimes you might not see much foot patrols, because the reason being, by using a vehicle, they are able to patrol a greater area. If we put officers on High Street, we know it's only part of High Street they can man. But the vehicle, the man in Caraco Street, the man in Clifton, is in Marabella, in several areas, Superior Street. So sometimes when we have sufficient persons, we ensure that High Street has foot patrols. But the mobile patrols are very important due to San Fernando is not just High Street alone. Right? We have to cater for all the business people within the city. So we try to patrol as far as possible. Right? Most times we reach to Gulf, reach Marabella, but on a daily basis we go to Marabella. Superior Street, myself and Ms. Maricha keep exercise on Superior Street nearly every week. Anybody who's passing there, I am sure would have seen me there. We were on San Fernando bypass last week. We tried to do things in different parts of the city as per the strength. But as I said, you will see a greater increase in patrols. And for the persons who with the place on the wharf, I took note of that. I will see as far as practical, if we could get a vehicle to pass and park about a few minutes around your closing time and these things. We'll see how practical, as far as practical it is.
Let me just make a point. In 2013, we had 23 municipal police officers. Am I right, Inspector?
Yes, sir.
We now have 90 plus officers. So we have improved in that area. There are little things that we do not see. I look at this morning, I had the opportunity to look at the 3D vision of San Fernando over the years. And I am amazed by how we have improved and progressed. We don't see these things or don't be safe. We look at all the negative things. We have come a long way as a city. Yes, it is not ideal, it's not where we would like to be. We have a lot of work to do. It is a work in progress, but we are improving, and this is a good place to be. Let us work collectively and understand and support each other, Mr. Lachman said a while ago, in making this place a better place than how we met it.
I have been, and this is one of the reasons I don't come to Santa, because I have been experiencing this from a girl coming to school in Santa. The problem is, and it has recycled to new faces. Thank you. So the problem is harassment of women in San Fernando. No guy here is being harassed by the workers or the employees of these business women. None of them. And who shops the most? Women, right? So women come, they shop, and they are getting harassed. We do not want to be harassed. We do not want to come to San Fernando and somebody grab us. We do not want somebody shooting at us. We want to feel safe, feel comfortable to come San Fernando, get what we have to get and go. We need to feel comfortable to bring our girl children to San Fernando without somebody harassing them. And that is why we move. That is one of the highlights that we need to address. So I am glad Mr. Fraser, I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
Right, well, Mr. Fraser will tell you, at our first traffic management meeting this morning, we spoke about that at length. We got to the point where we were inquiring from this meeting is between two major agencies, the TTPS and the Municipal Police. And both agencies were asked to report on jaywalking and loitering. Can we arrest anybody? I've been told by the TTPS that something that they've been looking at, but we have become a nation of limers. Right? So I was asking, and I raised the point about young men by the droves at various points in and around the city doing absolutely nothing, just hanging out there. What can we do about that? I can't remember what TTPS said. You want to respond to that? I remember we had that discussion.
All right. What happened some years ago? Normally they had some patrols. The officers would just walk up on them, ask them what is the purpose here, and tell them to move along. All right. I think what we'll need to revisit some of these old measures that we saw before, and try to re-implement it. All right. I think it would assist a little bit. All right. Because I mean, just standing up on the side of the road is really not a. It's not a crime, right? You will get a million reasons why somebody is there. They're waiting on a taxi, they're waiting to get picked up, they're waiting on a child, right? So we have to try a little tact in dealing with it, but we will try to change that scenario in San Fernando.
But it was discussed this morning, ma'am. That's the main thing.
Good evening to everyone on the head table. Mr. Mayor,
don't forget the lady.
To everyone at the head table. No. Mr. Mayor, just a comment on the issue of the street vendors. Yeah. I think you really need to have an iron fist approach to deal with it, because a lot of the malls have vacant spots, and these people do not want to get engaged in legitimate business. In the market, there are vacant stalls to sell produce, but they prefer to hustle on the street, and the citizens condone it, some business owners condone it. I have a clothes store, ladies' clothes store, and everything that I sell in my store is available on the sidewalk. So customers stop coming to the store. Nothing I could do until advertising, nothing could bring back the customers once there's a cheaper option on the pavement. That's just a comment, and I would really like to see something more stringent being done with regards to street vending. And I understand the issue that you have to face with. On a different note altogether, issue I wanted to address is parking to pick up school children. So it's not business related, but for instance on Carib Street, parents only park between 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 2:15 to 2:45, 30 minutes at maximum, get their kids out and leave. To me, it makes more sense to facilitate parents parking in an orderly manner, because there are no parking lots available near the school. If it is raining, you need to park very far, which what we are forced to do now, to walk to the school, to pick up your child, to walk back to the parking lot. And it becomes a problem. So instead of painting the ground yellow and saying you can't park here because people do not park there between 8 o'clock and 2:15, and 3:15 when school is over till the night, there are no cars parked on Carib Street. Only to pick up school children they park. And I think we could facilitate that, as opposed to charging them $1,000 and giving them demerit points because they're trying to pick up their kids. To me, the law has fallen in that regard, where it is now inconveniencing people and penalizing people who are trying to simply get their kids to and from school.
All right, if I can respond to your concern, sir. Some of the schools in San Fernando and parents picking up children. We have situations where parents are coming from all 1 o'clock and staying there on that spot straight till 3 o'clock. I have children going to school in San Fernando, and I just have to fly down by Naprima School, right? 2 o'clock to get a little spot in the car park there. And when I reach down there, the car park is filled. It is filled on most days. That's to tell you how early some of these parents are coming there. It is a problem with Lapik Road. We discussed it this morning in the meeting. The mayor was there. We have officers working down by Astra, down on that stretch. You'll see officers on the road every day. Those are municipal police officers who are there every day to assist with the traffic because of how early some of these parents. And we instruct them. I can say very clearly, I do not recall any officer coming in reporting rape patrol from those schools and reported having issued any parent any ticket in recent times. So if it happened by Grand School, I'm not sure, because by Grand School I know it is the traffic wardens who deal with here. Correct? Yeah, police officers are not by Grand School at this time. The areas where the police officers are, they are a bit lenient. We have officers on the promenade too by Boys RC every evening, morning and evening. Those are our officers also. And they are very lenient with the persons because they understand that a parent wants to pick up the child in front of the school. So we try our best to accommodate them each and every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that I've been hearing a lot about the vendors. I understand that the vendor president is here. Can you identify yourself? Yes, ma'am. Would you like to respond to what people have been saying here? Because,
Mr. Moderator, before we go to the vendors, I just want to address something about the schools. We have inherited something that is also unique. Harris Promenade has about 3 schools. Park Street has about 4 or 5 schools in that area right there. Library Corner has another 3 or 4 schools. Nowhere in the world will you find that. So we have to be really creative to make this work. Let me give an example. Boys RC St. Gabriel's to Joseph Convent. The traffic for Convent is all the way down to Independence Avenue, passing in front of the police station, blocking the police station, also the hospital issues. You have Boys RC on either side, and you have St. Gabriel's on the side. What we did recently, we cleared Penitent Street, the entire side, and have our officers parking on the bandstand itself to allow parents to park on Penitent Street and walk to Boys RC or walk to Convent. Inform the PTA and the school. So far, not one vehicle parked on Penitent Street. And that was since last year, right, Mr. Fraser? Since last year, since September last year. Not one vehicle parked there because they want to park in front of the school. So we are also part of the indiscipline issue. We as parents. So I wanted to clear that point with you. Vendor, President?
No, hold on. Just 2 contributions here, ma'am. And then we'll give you the opportunity to address it, because I think yours is a thorny issue. And so Dave, you want to...
I just wanted to make a suggestion to everyone that this issue with the lighting, I know for a fact that could be an issue where, like in the case of High Street, most of the real estate are rented. So therefore, you business owners, I imagine the majority of you are renting from the owner. Well, let me tell you what happens there. The landlord provides basic infrastructure, and he says to the tenant, you now provide for yourself what you want. So you know what's happening there? All the electricity comes to 1 meter. So the landlord says, okay, you got to pay the electricity bill for what you use. But really, the landlord has a responsibility to his property when you're not there. So while the discussion was going on, Mr. Mayor, maybe for discussion and collaboration in the future, I think if the government and the mayorship and whoever is responsible are providing good enough lighting for the safety and security and visibility of High Street,
then the landlords and the owners also have a responsibility. I confront that myself in my business. Mr. Mayor, a good idea might be to approach every one of these landlords through you, the godly people who rent, and say, listen, we need more visibility for our stores and by extension, the safety and security of your building. Maybe this is a way that you could collaborate, each one of you, to get more adequate lighting from the tenants and from the owners who have a responsibility to their property and their building. So I just wanted to make that point. And I know it have other speakers, but so that's for everybody. And it's a simple thing because the owner would want to highlight his property and also you want to highlight your business. And it fulfills the expectation of the city. Mr. Mayor, just 2 points for you. I operate in an environment where 2 things could probably bring more business to the city. 1, an easier facilitation for bar and liquor license. I know some responsibility to that falls to you. We could look at that because it takes too long. Now, some may say that there are too many bars, there are too many rum shops and so forth and so on. But that brings the life to a city. After these things are established, then we could look at some kind of zoning or something to control that. The other thing is building codes. We take too long. If somebody wants to erect a building, to set up a business, whether he wants to rent or whether he wants to operate, town and country is too long. You see? So,
you see, I mean, if I just intervene there, some of the problems you have there is that the business people or the owners are not very honest with their presentation, and that creates a problem for us. Because you present a plan saying you're doing ABC, and when we investigate it's DEF. So you have to go and this is very, very difficult because we have become a society based on smart people. Let's take, for instance, a building was constructed close to San Fernando Government Boys School. And we did our checks. They said that it's a dwelling house with 5 bedrooms, whatever the case may be. But investigation revealed that it was going to be a hotel. So when we look at the rules and the guidelines, whatever it is, we were to stop them. And then they convert 2 of the, so a hotel or the hotel, size of the hotel based on the code must be less than 7 bedrooms. So they convert 2 living room into bedrooms after they pass the law. So, you know, so this that kind of smartness you have to deal with. And you have our limited resources running down behind people all the time. And, so, and unless we become really a first world country in terms of our attitude, as opposed to always trying to beat the system, because you have to have building inspectors, engineers, and public health people running down business people day and night for them to do the right thing. Because you're always finding some way to beat the system, or you know somebody above you. So you go on to somebody and somebody, I'm going to call you some big person, as the case may be. We have to stop doing these things, you know. So I think it's this, Mr. Moderator.
His Worship and members of the head table. I know you mentioned, and it was mentioned before, with regards to the wrecking issue, but I know you had your traffic management meeting this morning. I just want to ask, I mean, Maritime is located on Cipero Street, and even behind the building, which is Median Street, we have clients sometimes park, advisors park there, and, you know, I don't know if it's being an easy target in the back there, but the wrecker seems to be picking up vehicles in the back there, and there's no real blockage happening. I just want to find out if, you know, again, in the ease of doing business and attracting commerce to the city. And I'll tell you another thing. We were looking at some additional parking space on Cipero Street. For 12 spaces on Cipero Street, they want to charge us $20,000 a month. So that is how ridiculous the parking situation is there. So, through you.
I'll tell you after. All right. Well, this morning, I was part of the traffic management meeting, and the wrecking issue always comes up in that meeting. Right, one of the issues came this morning, somebody brought it to our attention with the back streets where the wreckers were operating. And I told them I will personally keep a meeting this week with the wreckers to limit that and only remove vehicles in those areas if they are causing. If only and if a vehicle is causing an obstruction in these little back streets, because I told them I and all do not agree with wreckers going in little back streets and looking for vehicles. The purpose of the wrecker is to prevent obstructions and a free flow of traffic at all times. Right, and we'll try to get them to stay on course with that. Right, so you should see a change in that.
I raised that point.
We will ensure that, so we'll ensure that. Right, if we have to come out and follow them, sometimes we'll ensure that that takes place.
Good night to everyone, the mayor, and all those that are on the panel there. Well, on regards to, on regards to the gentleman who was speaking concerning vendors selling what he's selling. Now, we do have the power to bring goods into the country. So whatever we get to sell is from the wholesalers, that we will go and buy our goods there. So there is no, it won't have a problem like what we selling, that we getting it from the wholesalers. And if the wholesalers selling to the other stores, that won't be our problem. That is one of the issue. The other issue, one of the ladies spoke about people molestation. Now, I wouldn't know much concerning that. But what I know is whatever the mayor tells us to do, I try to implement it with the other vendors. And it's how some of them might be a little way out of hand that I can handle. I will, I'll speak to them, I will talk to them on WhatsApp, and I'll tell them what we need to do to continue vending in the city. So it has some of them, I can't handle them because they are big men, big women. And it's there the police now, whatever the mayor tell us to do, the city corporation is supposed to come and implement those measures. Because it will be out of my hand. I can't tell somebody what to sell and where to sell. I could tell them to keep in a certain manner, but the police have to come and enforce those measures to some of the lawless vendors that would not listen to me. My name is Cheryl Lawrence. Cheryl Lawrence. Yeah. Okay, so this is my contribution. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes?
I wanted to ask about the library, status of the library in San Fernando. Mr. Mayor, what's happening with the library?
I would like to know myself. The library falls under the jurisdiction of NALIS. And I think about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a budget of, I think it was $41 million to refurbish the library. At the time, that was probably during difficult times, and the powers that be didn't think it would have been a priority. However, we must be mindful that former Prime Minister Patrick Manning built a state-of-the-art library on Chancery Lane. I was a member of council in 2003 when we made the decision to convert Chancery Lane car park into a state-of-the-art library with a audiovisual room and all the amenities, modern-day amenities. However, there was an election in 2010, and Mr. Manning lost the election, and the library was converted into a teaching hospital. So it's not fair to say that the powers that be at the time didn't understand the need, recognize the need for a library. A library was constructed. I'm not saying that the administration who converted or repurposed the library into a teaching hospital was not necessary. I'm saying it was considered and done. It's against that background that no further investment was made in Carnegie Library because the library is being constructed. I was a member of parliament at the time when we found out or realized that Library Corner was congested and people wasn't easy to access. However, it is now a question of, do we need a library? Do we need that library? Do we need to repurpose that library? Do we want to turn it into a museum? Do we want to do several, and some person said make it into a tea shop. All those different things are being said. As it stands right now, it's basically a shell. Debris is falling from time to time from the building. You all not be aware of that. It's termite infested. We recently converted the building opposite Eden Center into a reference library for students, and it's very well used. Students are using it who are doing the exams, so it is being used. However, the existing building, as we know it, will have to, Hollis will have to determine or decide what happens with it, not the city corporation.
Your Worship, if you could pass, there's been a request, if the Deputy Mayor, she's been here and she's been quite silent, and we were...
Deputy Mayor is the chairman of the Public Health Committee.
Right.
So how we matters pertaining to public health, likewise security here. So if anybody there is a question of public health, for instance, in food vending, which is a good topic to touch on, Deputy Mayor will be able to respond.
Thank you for the request to speak, Mr. Singh. I do have a couple points I'd like to make. You know, sometimes you and I are put in some strange positions you wouldn't believe. I attended interfaith service on the promenade recently, and I had to use that as an opportunity to speak to the religious organizations about feeding the homeless on the promenade. So, of course, I would get some dirty stares, but these are the times when we have to come in to try to, you know, get our points across. There are lots of barriers we are faced with. But I also want to say, the Mayor and I attend many of the openings in San Fernando, most of the openings, small businesses, medium enterprises, etc. And one of the things that we get a good overview of what the business community is like in San Fernando. And I will say that you have small and medium enterprises opening 2 and 3 businesses in San Fernando, believe it or not. You have businesses who come from Chiguanas to San Fernando. And so we see both sides to it. And a positive side is recently I was told that San Fernando has the best work ethic. That is why businesses are opening new businesses, new branches in San Fernando. So I thought that was a positive for us. And the businesses that open are very diverse, from flower shops to opening 2 to 3 businesses in San Fernando. It's just amazing. I will end by saying, as a council, there are some things that we could do in the short term. And funny enough, this morning, somebody came to meet with us at the corporation. What they came to offer, or what they came really to speak about, it led into another conversation about ways for cities. Apparently, you know, with Waze, and you all spoke about that earlier, you can actually, there's a free app and you could do a lot of what you all were speaking about. So this morning, I found out about that. And so that's something maybe we could look into, and then we could do smaller things. So as a council, of course, we will discuss. We could probably outline where the different zones are for transport and the taxis and all of that. So, I mean, there are lots of positives, and I think that together, if we work, we will move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy. I want to follow up on what the Honorable Deputy just said about an app. We believe it could be a free app, and in fact, the GSFCC, the San Fernando Chamber of Commerce, we have the resources. We can look towards creating this app, which San Fernando can earn for the benefit of not only the business owners, but the customer base that we seem to be losing. We can bring that back to San Fernando, which is in the team of the San Fernando Chamber of Commerce of bringing business back to San Fernando. We have hope, ladies and gentlemen. We have some sparks of investment that is happening within downtown that would escape some of us because we seem to focus on the doom and gloom. Business is slowing down, there's not much commerce happening. But when we look to Lower High Street, Citibank had closed down many years ago, and the building was more or less abandoned. And we saw that Rattans took up the mantle, renovated the building, added a floor, and all of a sudden, Lower High Street is bright. He has lit the entire building. He has a nice bright color, and all of a sudden there's a lot of foot traffic going back to Lower High Street, and he's next to the developing transport hub of taxis and maxis for San Fernando. In addition, we saw Pennywise purchasing a building, and they expand from High Street to St. James Street. They have huge retail space. They created employment for dozens of workers. When you look at Rattans and Pennywise alone, they create maybe close to 100 workers in those two establishments. Within the last couple of weeks, we saw JD's expand onto Pointe-a-Pierre Road. And Pointe-a-Pierre Road was looking somewhat quiet. That is bringing back some life onto the corner of the Pointe-a-Pierre Road intersection coming into San Fernando. Past that Napskills traffic zone that we witness and we have to bear with every single day. The example that I'm trying to draw and for us to pay attention to is that those of us that within the SME sector can learn. When you learn about the examples of how Pennywise started in the market and where Rattan is a second generation business owner, that is examples that we as smaller business owners could look to exemplify to our workers, to ourselves, to expand our businesses. Our very own Anne, as an example, she started working in a clothing store many years ago when she left school. Nobody would think that. She opened one branch, she opened 2 branches. And this is somebody who literally learned to business on the street. And if she could do that without any formal training in business, and we have so many of us here, as a simple survey, a simple sample of the wider business community, you have so much levels of higher education, maybe we should be following what she is doing. Because she has expressed confidence in the San Fernando economy by investing money that she didn't have. And that is the thing about business. Is either you're risk averse or you take risk. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be in business. Business is about taking risk. And we have many people here, and people who will follow this tomorrow in the media, who will be able to share in that example of business expansion, taking a risk. We have young Sheena, very educated. She opened an electrical store. Nobody would think that she's an electrical engineer. And that she supplies to the oil field industry, industrial electrical equipment. So these, I don't want to go on. We had numerous examples. We could go on and on about. But these are the people we should be looking to. That while it is easy to paint a broad brush across the entire San Fernando landscape and say, business leaving San Fernando, people leaving San Fernando, let's focus instead on how we bring in people back to San Fernando. How we bring in business back to San Fernando. It is always easy to identify problems. That is the easiest thing to do. But the question we must ask ourselves and those who complain to us, because everybody in business becomes somebody to look up to, somewhat of an idol among his peers. What is the solution to the problem? How do I identify getting around the challenge that we face? And that is the message we must take away when we leave here tonight, that we as a community, and this is one of the reasons we formed this Chamber of Commerce some years ago was to ensure that South business network with each other. We have forgotten that San Fernando is a family-oriented city. And that is the difference between San Fernando and Port of Spain. And I always take the opportunity to tell people from Port of Spain that we are the hospitality city of the entire country. When you're here, you live like family. What we have forgotten is that we should be supporting each other's businesses by purchasing from each other. Neil brought up another very good point about the entertainment industry. We leave here, take the risk of driving up the dangerous highway to Lyman Aripita Avenue in the middle of the night, pay twice the price for drinks and food and whatever it is, so we could then to say next day, I lime on the avenue last night, boy, and you beat your chest, yeah, I lime day. But who laughing at we? The Port of Spain businessmen, because they take all the money and they're laughing and expanding their business, and they're happy. They block up everybody also in Woodbrook. It change, business expand. We have little pockets of entertainment that grow in the so-called mega malls. Why are we not supporting these pockets of creation from the younger business community who are entertainment focused? Instead of driving up the highway, who is going to sleep in the middle of the night when the mayor young son, you think he's going to drive up the highway to, the mayor not going to, well, neither Mrs. Regallo. To go and lime on the avenue? No. We have to encourage, and the other point I'm making is that within the network, we have developed an attitude, a culture of sharing. What I mean by that is that you go to Adam's Optical and he give you 10-20% discount on your glasses, your lens, your testing, whatever. You go to Neil, he will give you a discount for being a member of the chamber. Or you go by Atong's Bakery, you get a discount on the purchases. Or you go by Mahindra, you get a discount on clothes. Or by Ann. And this is the type of atmosphere we create within the chamber where you get discounts from supporting each other's businesses.
So Chairman, may I interject? So could we do a San Fernando card?
We have that, Mayor.
Discount?
We have a membership discount card that's being printed as we speak.
Is I exempted from that?
The Mayor knows very well that he could walk into any store in San Fernando and get discount. You have to beg people, boss, I have to pay you. And you see Anne's smiling. I wouldn't ask why Anne's smiling like that.
So you have a business card?
We have a membership card that we're currently printing that we will give out to the members along with a certificate that you will put up in your store, as well as the membership card that you show to the participant merchants and you automatically get a discount. And to add some frosting on the cake, we recently secured a deal with Massey Motors that opened, the service center that opened on the Gulfview Link Road some months ago, late last year, where they will give the San Fernando Chamber of Commerce members discounts ranging from 10 to 25% when you present your membership card. And I think that's a big deal for San Fernando, if I don't find saying that myself. And but we have, and this is going on, Sasha Cosmetics will give you a discount. I wouldn't say who is behind Sasha Cosmetics, but we will get discount when we go to Sasha Cosmetics and they rent downstairs in the most competitive rental environment in downtown San Fernando, RRM Plaza, where you'll get a discount as well if you come to rent a space. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, we just need to inculcate this entrepreneurial spirit among us all, and we could then expand. And San Fernando could once again become the envy of the nationwide business community. Venezuelans come to San Fernando to shop and go back to Venezuela. We have something special that we're offering. Why are we looking away and giving it up? Don't let other pockets of investment take away what we have tonight. Please. I want to thank you all for coming. I know you all spent a lot of your time to come here this evening, but it's very important. The mayor, the deputy mayor, the ASP, Acting Inspector, seeing the very important relevance of us meeting here together, take time out of busy schedules to come here tonight to share in the exchange of ideas, strategies, and philosophies that we express here tonight. And of course, we have the heavy, strong presence of the media as well, who will record this event and broadcast it over the next coming days to show that San Fernando is alive and well. We breathe in, we're here to stay. And I want to point out again what the mayor said, the waterfront project. That is a big, big deal for us in San Fernando. It's bringing money, it's bringing investment, it's bringing employment. Let's take advantage of it. Let's get ready. So when that's ready, we waiting. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll hand you over to Hansel.
Your Worship, you have anything that you'd like to say just before?
I think you said it all.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. It was certainly encouraging, and let's hope that we can certainly progress as we move along. I think one of the critical things that we can do almost immediately is Sunday shopping, and you can push for that, because I grew up on Rushworth, just on Rushworth Street, corner of Rushworth and Gordon, and I remember window shopping on High Street in San Fernando, and maybe we can certainly bring that back. Adams Optical, incidentally, you'll be featuring in the film as well at the Naparima Bowl, and of course all over the world when it starts streaming. So members of the chamber are also beneficiaries of even my work as well, and I'm hoping that we can certainly benefit each other as we move along. Take advantage of the card. It's being printed as we speak, and certainly Your Worship and others, thank you. To members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Yes, and we've got light refreshments that will be provided. Light is uncommon with Kiran, but nevertheless, I think it's always prudent. To members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, thank you so much. I think, and the municipal police, of course, thank you so much for your presence here. And in addition to that, I think it is very often underestimated how much you do, and sometimes it certainly feels as damned if you do, damned if you don't. And even my colleagues in the world of the media has a tendency, of course, to pay no mind to that. And I hope that I see one man working for my former employers at Trinidad and Tobago Television. We can throw and make sure that these things are reported, the contributions made here by everyone, and do so with a certain level of vigilance. Thank you.